Hey everybody, this is Single Dad with Single Dad Cooking. And today we're going to be doing some stuffed cabbage rolls or cabbage rolls, whatever you want to call them. Now, hold on, don't click off because everybody knows how these cabbage rolls go. It's time consuming, but I'm trying to cut it all down. I've been told I waste too much time. So I've kind of got a head start here. And what I've got for these cabbage rolls is I've got 2 medium heads of cabbage that I've taken the core out of, and I've got one down in the pot of water now boiling, just softening up the leaves. That's what I'm doing, just getting the leaves softened up. And every now and then I'll kind of turn it. Now I've got 2 of these because I'm going to be making quite a few of them. And so here's one cabbage that I haven't cooked yet, and you can see I've removed the core. That just makes it easier for the leaves to come off once it's boiled. So, what you want to do is you want to get it in there at about 10 minutes, really and truly. It takes about 10 minutes, and then you can start pulling these leaves off. Now, these outer leaves are a little dark, as you can see. They are just a hair bit dark, but that's okay. That's all right. We're going to eat them. And we're just going to pull them off and let them kind of sit to the side. And then we'll just go back down and grab another, and we'll keep peeling them off like this while it's in that hot water, boiling away. And we'll do that. Now, folks, this does take some time, all right? I'm going to do my best to keep the video short, but this stuff takes time. It takes time to do this. It takes time to cook them in the end. But what you're going to need is you're going to need your 2 medium cabbages or 1 big giant head of cabbage to do this with. About 2 pounds of ground beef. You're not going to cook it. You're just going to leave it raw. This is 4 pounds, 4.5 pounds. So I'm going to use about 2 of this. Also, you're going to need some rice. Now, I went ahead and I did a good par cook on my rice. It's not fully cooked, but it almost is. It's still hot. I'm going to let this kind of cool off a little bit before I mix my raw ground beef in with it. And that's just part of the filling, is the beef, the rice. We're going to saute up about 1 medium onion and a tablespoon of chopped garlic. And we'll do that in some butter. So here's that. There's the onion and the garlic. And we'll do that back here in this black cast iron skillet. And we'll just kind of just get it soft. I don't care if it's brown or not, and you shouldn't care if it is either. You're just kind of just softening it up and getting it ready to go into the mixture. Now also, we're going to season it, of course, with some salt and black pepper. And that's going to be to taste. And we're also going to add into our meat filling a little bit of garlic powder, a little bit of onion powder, a couple of pinches of ground cinnamon. That really helps it out. And a couple of pinches of ground nutmeg. And that just really helps spice it up. I've looked on videos here on YouTube, and I see everybody using the onion and the garlic, the salt and the pepper, but they're really not using any other spices. So, this is my version of it. Actually, this is my stepfather's version of it. He's a fantastic cook. He was anyways. Now he's passed on, but I've managed to get his cabbage roll recipe, which involves all those items. And also, a lot of people add crushed tomato or tomato puree to their sauce, their sauce base. Well, I like tomato in mine too, but I don't use the crushed or the pureed. I used the Campbell's condensed tomato soup. I think it's just so much better. You can't get a better tomato flavor out of anything other than that Campbell's soup. I mean, yeah, Walmart does a good brand, and it's tasty, but it ain't Campbell's. So this right here is 2 family-sized cans of Campbell's tomato soup, and I've added about 1.25 cups of milk to it to make it kind of creamy. All right, so that's where we're at right now. I'm going to finish up this cabbage real quick. I'm going to get my other one going, get my leaves peeled, and I'll show you what I'm going to do just as soon as I get back from that. So hang with me. All right, folks, we're carrying on here. That first head of cabbage is done. As you can see, I've got quite a few leaves off of it, and I've actually a couple of these are from the one I've got going now. Now here back in my skillet, I've used about 2 tablespoons of butter for that onion and that garlic, and we're just slowly just sweating it out. And that's what you want to do. Just kind of just sweat that out. And I know with the rice, I forgot to mention how much rice I have. What I've got here is with the rice is I've got 2 cups of white rice, just plain long grain rice. Actually, I think this is jasmine rice, honestly, but it's just 2 cups of just a long grain rice with 4 cups of water that I brought up to a boil for about 10 minutes. Cut it off and I let it sit for about 5, and then I poured it out here, and it absorbed most of the water, but the rice is not fully cooked. Just to let you know, it's not fully cooked. Now you could fully cook your rice if you wanted to. You could use, if you didn't want to cook your rice beforehand, if you didn't want to do this, mess up another pan, you could use a raw rice. I don't suggest using just a plain raw white rice. I would highly suggest using a converted rice brand that's been blanched or something. I don't know what they do to it. Uncle Ben's does it. That's a really good converted rice that you could use if you're just going to throw it in raw and don't, skip the cooking process, because this is all going to cook anyways. But you could also use the minute rice. That would work really, really well in this. If you didn't want to cook it, you just use the minute rice. Let me check my cabbage real quick. My second cabbage. Oh, there's a leaf. He's ready. There's that. And yeah, we still gotta just let him just keep on cooking. He's not done yet. Now don't throw away. Now you're gonna pull off the bigger leaves, but don't throw away the smaller parts. This is what was left from that first one that I did. And he's small, a little bit bigger than a softball at this point in time. But hang on to it. Don't toss it. We're going to chop it up, and we're going to place it down into the bottom of our crock pot for our cabbage rolls to sit on top of. This one goes into the bottom of the crock pot. We're going to add a little sauce, add our cabbage rolls once they're done. And we're on our other one here that's cooking now. We'll get him chopped up and lay over the top of our cabbage rolls. So don't throw them away. Hang on to them. That's just a waste of food anyways. You don't want to waste nothing. Ain't nobody afford to throw that crap in the trash. So, just let me get this stirred up real quick. So just hang on with me, folks. Like I said, I'm going to try to make this as quick and easy and painless as possible, and as short as I possibly can, because I don't do a whole lot of editing. I really don't. So we're going to do that. Actually, I'm going to cut that off. And this will get mixed into my rice. Now, all this rice, I don't know if I'm going to use it all or not. That's a lot of rice. And I don't know if I've got enough cabbage leaves to fill all of them. So, to use all the rice anyways. So, I'll probably start with about half of that rice. So, we'll see. I might have to do something else. There's no telling. Really and truly at this point, I'd like to be a little bit more together than I am, but you know what? This is real life, and this is what you're going to face when you're doing it too. Did I get too much cabbage? Did I get enough onion cut? Did I cook too much rice? Is that enough tomato soup mix? Yes. On most of it, yes. I probably cooked too much rice. Cabbage? No, I didn't get too much cabbage. I really don't think I did. Too much soup mix? No. I don't see that happening either. It's the rice that's probably too much. So we'll get back. I'm gonna, like I said, I still need to let the rice cool off a little bit. I'm gonna need to let this cool off a little bit. These leaves, of course, they've got to be cool enough to handle. And also with the leaves, we'll be doing a little bit more trimming on them actually, because as you can see, there is a stem right here that runs down through there. Now that's going to be hard to fold over, so we'll get a little paring knife and we'll just kind of just cut down on the thicker part. It's okay if it's down here, but we'll kind of get us a little paring knife and we'll just kind of just run down that stem and we'll just trim it off just like that. So see, there's that stem. Now you can eat that or do what you want, but see, it makes it so much better. You can actually be able to roll this now. So there's a lot of preparation. Like I said, don't let the work run you away, because there is some work involved, but it is so worth it. Look at that. So anyways, just stick with us. We'll be back here in a minute. I'll get the rest of these cabbage leaves done. I'll probably get stuff chopped up, and then we'll start seasoning up our soup mix, and we'll start rolling these things. So be back here in just a moment. All right, folks, I got everything done. I've chopped up most of that cabbage that was left, not the leaves that I'm going to roll with, but the cores or the middles, the little small parts. And I know y'all probably didn't want to see me chop cabbage, but this is it. I cut those little heads, those little tiny heads in half after I pulled all my leaves off that I'm going to get. And I ended up with 21 leaves. So this, basically what I do is I just chop it up about ½ inch, you know, half inch slice. And then I give it a quick little turn and I cut all that in half and I just throw it in a bowl. And that's what I do there. And that's it. That's all there is to it. That's all you need to do to it. No need to season it all up and stuff. Let me get a paper towel real quick and clean up the water and stuff that's on my board from the cabbage. There. Okay. So we've got that. Now comes the seasoning of the tomato soup and the hamburger meat and the rice mixture. So, like I said, I have 2 family-sized cans of Campbell's tomato soup in here and 1 1/4 cup of whole milk that I've added to it. Now, I'm going to go ahead and season it. I'm going to use a little bit of black pepper. That's about a teaspoon of that. I'm going to sprinkle in just a little bit of salt, not much, probably about a teaspoon. Yeah, about a teaspoon full of salt. And I'm going to season it up with just a little bit of onion powder, about a 1/4 teaspoon onion powder, and about the same amount of garlic powder. We'll go about a 1/4 teaspoon right there. There we go. And we got that. And we're going to carry these same seasonings that I'm doing now in the soup into the meat and rice mixture also. Now I'm going to remove the lid from my ground cinnamon because that's some potent stuff. And we're just going to add just a little bit. I mean, not much, just a couple little pinches. And put that in there. And then we need a little bit of nutmeg. Just a little bit, not much. It's all potent, powerful stuff. So that was about ½ teaspoon of cinnamon and a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. And what you do, just mix it up. You know, all these flavors goes with tomato anyhow. And they all go with beef, surprisingly. So we'll get that done. And we'll stir that up. And I know what you're thinking is, why are you doing it in a bowl? Why are you doing it all in a bowl? Well, because I need to put it into my crock pot, and I'm going to be adding cabbage to it and stuff, but I'm not going to do it right now. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to get my hamburger meat. Now, it's about my 2 pounds there. And now I've got my rice. Sorry, folks. I know I'm not prepared. And I'm going to add pretty well much, about half of it for sure in there. And we'll save the other half for another day, probably tomorrow. So we got that. And then I've got my 1 medium onion and my tablespoon of garlic here that I've sauteed in a little bit of butter. And all that, I'm going to go right down into it. Right down into it there. Set that to the side. And now we're going to re-season this. We're going to add a little bit of onion powder. Not a lot, about a teaspoon. About a teaspoon of garlic powder. Get that in there, maybe a little extra. We like garlic anyways. The nutmeg, gotta have a little bit of the nutmeg in there. Not much, just same, about quarter teaspoonful. And about a quarter teaspoon of cinnamon also. Come on, cinnamon, work for me. Must be non-union. All right, so there we go. So we've got that in there. Now then, we also need to add some black pepper. I'm sorry about the squeezing. If you can do fresh black pepper, do it. If you're like me, just use it out of the can. It don't matter. And with the salt, just a little bit to just bring some of those flavors out. You know, about a teaspoon, half teaspoonful. And basically at this point in time, you just mix it up. Get your hands down in there. Hush it up, mix it up, get everything combined. And oh, that smells good too, already. And so just mix it up real quick. It don't take long. Get this done. You know, everything's cooked but the meat. See, you just mash it together. Try not to overwork it though, but you know, you want to get it mixed in decently well. Okay, and see, there it is. Right there, got it mixed. There ain't no big issues there. Now we're gonna grab our soup real quick. Excuse me for reaching across in front of you. We're gonna grab our soup and we're gonna get a couple spoonfuls. And we're gonna flavor our meat with some of that tomato. And so that was probably about, you know, with the amount of everything I've got, that's probably about a good half cup. And then we're just going to go right back in and mix that again. And just get it all just mixed up and saturated and wonderful. If it wasn't raw, I'd taste it. But I know it's going to taste good. I know it is. So there's our meat mixture. We've got that done. Get off me, meat. All right. So we got that. Let me get that cabbage out of the way. And you can see what I'm about to do. Oh, excuse me. Well, at least I covered with my elbow. All right, so we're going to take a cabbage leaf. You know, and you can see how it's floppy side. It's trying to flop inward, and that's okay because that's the outside of it. This is the inside. So we need a spoon. Fortunately, I've got one right here handy where I can use. So we're going to take a big old glob of meat because I like them big and healthy. Now that's probably about 1/4 of a cup. And you're going to start at your stem end, where it was attached to that core. And you're going to roll it over. Okay, so you roll it over till it meets there. You take your ends here and flip them up. Then you finish rolling them up. And that's how you do it right there. That is it. That's exactly how you make your cabbage roll. So, take some more of our filling. I know that you probably want to see that more than once. So you're going to take some more of our filling here, our little meat, rice, tomato mixture. Get it in there. Kind of cigar shape, but not as skinny as one. And roll it over to that stem meets the bottom. Take your sides, flip them in. Kind of like rolling a burrito. And roll it up. Place it to the side. And there you go. And you're going to repeat this till they're all done. And if you got any meat mixture left over, which is fine if you do, you can always kind of cook that up a little bit and put it in a burrito, an actual burrito, and add a little cheese to it, and that's always a good tasty treat. So there's a little tip if you got stuff left over. And I might have some left over. Even with me not using all that rice. Get these knives out of the way. I'm done. Done with those. So anyways, folks, there you go. These are the cabbage rolls. This is the beginning of it. From here, what we'll do is we'll get our chopped cabbage, about half of our chopped cabbage there, into the bottom of our crock pot. And we're going to turn that sucker up on high. Get in there, meat. We're going to turn it up on high, and we're going to cook it for about 4 hours, even on high. And then we'll turn it down to low for, you know, a couple of hours there at the very end. And let it finish cooking. So you're looking for a cooking time of about 6 hours, you know, 4.5, 6 hours, you know, somewhere in that range. You know, if you cook it on high the entire time, it will be done pretty fast. So anyways, let me finish rolling these. We'll come right back whenever they're going into the crock pot. All right, we're here at the crock pot, getting ready to put it all together. Now, I've taken about half of my chopped cabbage and I've placed it down here into the bottom of the bowl, or the crock. And what I'm going to do now, see if I can do this without blocking everybody. I'm going to take some of my tomato soup and I'm going to start pouring it in. And we'll just start pouring some in. Get in there. Get a good majority of it in there. Not all of it, just a good majority of it. And we're going to mix that cabbage up with it. And there we go. See how quick and easy that is? Now, once that's done, we take our cabbage rolls and we start nestling them in. Just put them in there. It's okay if they're tight fitting. And push them, kind of push them down. Don't bust them open when you're pushing them down. Just kind of just push them in. And let them just sit in that sauce. Oh, he was coming undone. That's all right. We'll get him. It just pile them in like you would do a tamale. Just pile them in. It's okay if they're sitting on top of each other. Everybody's going to cook. No issues. Now then, if you've got a bigger crock pot, I highly suggest you use it. But I don't, and I promise you, I will get every bit of this in there. Lid with the lid on. All right, so see, that's all 21 of my cabbage rolls right there. Now, whoops, I'm sorry folks. Didn't mean to do that. I done showed you my whole kitchen floor and everything. Let's pop back up here. All right, as you can see, I've made a slight mess on the counter, but that's all right. That's just from dripping. So, I've got my other cabbage here in my bowl, the other half, and I've got the rest of my tomato soup, and I'm just going to pour it in. Just pour it all in there. Scrape your bowl as much as you possibly can. Get in there, soup. All right, and we'll set that into the sink. I've got my tongs here. I'm just going to kind of mix it up with my tongs. And now we're just going to just pour it on over the top. Just pour it over. Don't worry too much about it. Just try not to, you know, spill it out everywhere. And there you go. And just pour it over the top. Now we're covering them with all that sauce and deliciousness because that's just what makes it delicious. And we'll take our crock pot lid. It's already turned on high. I've already turned it. And look at that. I told you I'd get it all fit in there. And that sucker's got to be about 8 quarts. At least 6, if not 8. I think it's at least 6. So we've got that. That's bothering me. All right. So we've got that done. Now, folks, it took me about 2 hours to get everything prepped and ready. It really did. To get to this point, we're looking at about 2 hours. It takes time. It really does, but what you're doing for your family should take a little bit of time, because if you don't put the love and the care and the attention into it, it's not worth doing. You might as well just run over there to the McDonald's or the Burger King or the Dairy Queen or the whoever and just throw food at them. Here you go. Here's the fries. Here's a fistful of fries. And just throw it at them. Just toss it. Just toss it at them, because that's what you're going to do if you're going to be feeding your family that. And who can afford that anyways? My goodness. It costs you $35 for 3 people. Well, not that much, but you know what I mean. It is expensive, but you didn't have to do nothing, so you are paying for the convenience. So anyways, folks, this is one of those meals you're just going to love to death. I promise you. I'll be sure to get this recipe down in the description. Okay? I promise you, I will get it put down in there. Be sure to like, subscribe, share with your friends. Please go ahead and share with your friends. Hit that bell, get your notifications, so whenever I do get a new video posted up, you've got it. And I'll tell you that it's, hey, something good and delicious and family oriented is going on. Now later on, I don't know if I'll show you the end result or not, because we'll be starving by the time this is done, I'm sure. I'll get some more done. I will. I'll actually show you what it looks like whenever it comes up out of here. You're going to really love it. So stick with me. We'll be back whenever I'm pulling this out and it's all nice, hot, ready, and delicious. And, you know, like, that pot is full. I mean, that lid is literally sitting on top of stuff. As this cooks, it will cook down some. All right? Don't worry about it. Things ain't going to boil over. And if they do, well, you've got a rag. Wipe it up. But it shouldn't be boiling over or anything. Everything's going to cook down a little bit. It should be about at the top level of the crock itself by the time everything's said and done. So stick with me. We'll show you the end result as soon as it's ready. All right, folks. Cabbage rolls are done. Here's 2 of them right here. Take a look at that. A little saucy, delicious. I put a little cabbage down on the bottom, some of that chopped up cabbage down there. But this is the part everybody right here is going to be waiting for. Cutting in. Just cut on in it. Oops. Look at that. Bust him open. Look at that. The meat's cooked. That rice finished cooking. It's going to be delicious, folks. So anyways, here you go. These are the cabbage rolls. I hope you make them. Hope you enjoy them. Give it a try. You won't be disappointed, I promise you. So, until next time, take care of yourselves. Take care of your family. And as always, cook with love. We'll see y'all later.